Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry I wasn't here earlier. I had an event prior to this, and now I have another event after this too that I'm going to get to go. Try to get to after this. So sorry I didn't get a chance to talk with you beforehand. Normally I get to meet them early to get to meet the people and so forth. But having said that, since I didn't get a chance, I know several people here. But for the ones I don't know, if you get a chance, I know people are busy, but would you check out my website? It's on my card here that I handed out. It's richardreisinger.com, and I have a lot about my experience there, my qualifications, my Republican Party involvement, and my wife too. We've both been involved in the Republican Party for a long time. And I also have an endorsement page, an endorsement list. I'm very honored and humbled to have all the endorsements that I have, all the way from the grassroots, precinct chairs, Republican women group, members of groups, Republican women groups there, elected officials, many organizations. So please check all that out when you get a chance. I know you're busy, especially during the local election time right now. And if you have questions, please email me at richardreisinger. That's my email address, is richardreisinger@reagan.com. And if you leave your phone number, if you want to talk to me on the phone, I'll be glad to call you back. So, especially since, again, we didn't get a chance to talk. A little bit about myself. Again, my last name is Reisinger. It's Singer, but R-I in front of it. That helps people remember a little bit. A lot of people know a Reisinger. A lot of times I get asked that because it is not a very common name, so people tend to remember if they know a Reisinger and they hear my name. But usually I'm not related to the person they know, but sometimes I am. And yes, I've been involved in the community for a long time. I'm born and raised here in Harris County. Oh, let me stop real quick. And Mr. Wilson here, David, he did hit on an important point. I need to make sure that hits home here. It is kind of confusing about what's going on with my particular race, because it's a Republican Party runoff, and it's coming up soon, but it's not going on right now. So a lot of people think the race is going on right now, because throughout Harris County in many local areas you do have the early voting going on for the election for May the 5th. So many issues are being considered right now and up for vote at May the 5th. This is not on the ballot. The 295th Civil District Court race is not on the ballot until May the 22nd. That's the official regular voting day. The early voting day is May 14th through 18th. And it's while I did have some cards made up where I actually put the dates on the top here, the Republican primary runoff, so it has the information there too, and it has it on my website. So it's been working very hard since the Republican primary, was on March the 6th. I'm honored and humbled to have received the most votes of the candidates. There were 3 of us originally in the race. It was a very competitive race, and I was honored to be the front runner there, but I definitely don't take anything for granted. Things are continuing to look well for our campaign. I've gathered a lot of good endorsements. I had many good endorsements before then, but I've also gathered some new endorsements along the way, and so I have added those to my website, so please check that out. I'm very honored by that. And so we're continuing to work hard. I'd like to have your endorsement, your support, your vote. So please consider that, and I hope you vote for me on either May 14th or 18th or on May 22nd. The way I got involved in this race, and I want to make it right up front, I am going to be the kind of judge who will apply the law and not legislate from the bench. Antonin Scalia is my favorite judge of all time. That gives you an idea where I come from the judicial philosophical point of view. I do believe that you should interpret the law based on text and original intent, like what Judge Scalia did. And I also like Thomas and Alito and Gorsuch. That's kind of where I come from, because I do believe that's when you do that, you're a real judge. If you do that, you're something other than a judge. We have people on the bench that are what I call ginos. You hear the term rhino for Republican name only. Well, I came up with the term called gino because they're judges in name only, because they'll make stuff up for the bench. They make laws up for the bench. So they basically legislate for the bench. And that's the opposite kind of judge that you should be. So I promise you, if I do get elected as your next judge, I will be a judge who does apply the law and not make it up. And I will treat people fairly. I have throughout my career, and I will continue to do so. The way I got involved in this particular race is I've actually been, as I said, my wife and I have been involved in the Republican Party for a long time. I've been we've both been delegates to the conventions, both been presidents of local Republican clubs. My wife was president of the Senior Senate Republican Women's Club a few years ago. I was president of the Clear Lake Area Republicans back in 2010. So we've been involved a long time. My wife is secretary. Right now she's secretary of the Harris County Republican Party. And so we've been very involved in the group there, and glad to continue on. So we know what it's like to be involved in the grassroots, to be for all the efforts that people put in trying to make this country better. And I ran in 2012. I ran for the 80th Civil District Court. And what happened is, you all know, you probably remember in 2008, for the first time in Harris County, the Democrats won several of the judicial benches. So I ran for in 2012, there were several of us who were trying to win those seats back. And I was a Republican nominee that time. And in the general election, we ran a good campaign, but unfortunately the newcomers, us Republicans, most of us that were trying to, excuse me, I have a little allergy reaction here, but we were trying to win those seats back from the Democrats. Unfortunately, I lost by 1.5 percentage points. So that was not good. That was a bummer to come so close and yet so far. But anyway, coming up toward this election cycle, the current judge is Judge Caroline Baker. She's Republican. She's been in this 295th Civil District Court for many years. It's the same kind of court that I ran before, because in Harris County it's such a big area that they have several civil district courts, and 295th being one of them. Well, she decided not to run again, made an announcement that she was not going to run again. So there were other people who want me to try to run again this cycle. And long story short, after conversations and discussions, of course, with my wife, we made a decision to go ahead and go for it, to run, to be your next judge at this court. And ever since then, we've been gathering a lot of good support, as I mentioned earlier. And it's a seat that so there's so many other benches that are up that you saw on the primary ballot up this year that we should be able to win all the county-wide seats. Republicans should be. It's a governor year, not a presidential year. We do better during the governor cycle, and these benches, they're 4-year terms, so they were up in 2014, and most of the Republicans county-wide won by 8-9 percentage points or so. So it was a good victory for Republicans. But this time around, the Democrats are all excited. They're all fired up because they won in 2016, as you know. It was unfortunate for us Republicans that they won countywide. And so they're all fired up. They have people running for all the benches and all the countywide positions. And as you know, Stan Stannard, our county clerk, that's a real important position to have, and they're out to get him. So we definitely, and of course Chris Daniel too, who's our district clerk, Chris Daniel, he's endorsed me, which I'm honored to have his support. He's been involved in the grassroots for many years. Well, they're after him too. So we all need to get out there and vote in the general election in November to keep the county positions Republican, keep this county red for this governor here. So I think we have a great chance. Obviously, I mean, I wouldn't have run if I didn't think the Republicans were going to win countywide. But we don't know for sure. Anyone that says that Republicans are going to win countywide, they don't know what they're talking about. So you can't take anything for granted. We got to get people out there to vote in November and win this race. Now, having said that, I do think whoever are the Republican nominees, I do think I would make the better candidate, and I think my endorsements show that. But I think whoever wins the Republican nominee, we're all either going to rise together or we're going to go down together. So we all need to work together in November to win. So having said that too, let me go a little bit more about my background and my experience to this position, and kind of help convince you that I am the right person for the job, that I would be the kind of judge that you expect as your fellow constitutionalists, basically, that you believe that the judges should apply the law based on text and original intent. And if you're doing that, you're not only being the right kind of judge, you are being fair to all the parties. You know, a lot of people say, well, are you going to be fair or not fair and all this stuff? Well, to me, if you're fair is when you apply the law. You're not fair if you don't apply the law. You know, it's like if you're in sports and athletics, you know, you have referees and umpires. They can know all the rules of the game, but if they don't apply them as intended, well, then they're not a good referee. Or if they're biased toward one of the teams, well, they're not a good referee or a judge. So I promise you that I'll be that kind of judge that will apply the law and be fair. And my background shows that too. Through my career, I've been a municipal attorney. By the way, my wife and I both were born and raised in Harris County. We're lifelong residents of Harris County. We live in southeast Harris County. And I've been a municipal attorney for over 26 years. And as part of that, I've gained really good experience over the years. I started out, I was a prosecutor for 10 years. So that was very good experience. I had hundreds of trials, and jury trials and judge trials, and met many attorneys, been before many judges. Very good experience. And I've also, met thousands of people from all walks of life, and that's been really good experience over the years, just dealing with different kind of people and working with them and so forth. During that time, I also worked as a civil litigation attorney for the city, so I did civil work during that whole time. And then since that time, I've basically done civil work for the city, where I do take care of many civil matters for the city, including defending the city in lawsuits. I've handled cases basically all the way at all levels, from the municipal court all the way up through civil district court like this court is, and even up to the appellate courts and the Supreme Court. I've handled cases. So, and all the kind of cases that you deal with in civil court, I've handled through auto accident cases, for example. Let me give you a quick summary. The civil district court, you're probably aware, are civil disputes basically among parties and large amounts of money. It's the highest trial court level in Texas, so that there's no jurisdictional limits. So if someone wants to sue someone for millions of dollars, well, then those kind of cases end up being filed in civil district court. Again, all different kind of civil matters. I mentioned automobile accident cases that I have experience in. I just happened by coincidence in 2016, I had a jury trial in this very court before Judge Baker in the 295th Civil District Court, where I was defending the city in a lawsuit. They sued us for a lot of money when they were involved in an accident with a city employee driving a garbage truck. And my first argument was that we were not liable in the case under the law. We were not negligent, but the plaintiff was also not injured as he claimed he was. And so, long story short, the jury ruled in our favor. It was a very good trial, competitive. The attorney on the other side was board certified, a very good attorney, and it was a well-fought case, and we respected each other. And so, but put icing on the cake, that attorney actually has endorsed me in this race. So I think that's pretty good that someone that was trying to get a lot of money and wasn't able to end up endorsing me. So that gives you an example of how I am respectful of people in the courtroom, even when they're on the other side. So. The other kind of cases you deal with on civil contract disputes, for example, I deal with contracts all the time with the city. Well, I say all the time, many times, I deal with contract issues, review contracts and so forth, and those are kind of cases that end up in civil district court too. Deed restriction cases end up in civil district court. I've talked many times over the years before homeowners associations and how the city can help them enforce code violations, for example, dangerous building situations, the deed restriction issue. So if someone's operating a business in your neighborhood, for example, hopefully you get it worked out, but if for some reason you don't get it worked out and it ends up in court, you want to have a judge that handle those kind of cases before and knows the law on that and knows whether there's a violation or not, and put a stop to it if there is a violation. Employment disputes, employees like terminations and so forth, dealing with those. So really, most any kind of case that's been in civil district court I've handled. And so I feel like I'm ready to hit the ground running for you to be your next judge of this court. I'd be honored to serve as your public servant in another similar type capacity. One other thing I'd like to mention too briefly, I have been a municipal court judge too in the past, which it's a different type of law, but it is very good. It was a good experience of being a judge in that court. So just good experience overall. And when you look at my, if you get a chance to look at my endorsement tab, for example, one of the things I've been getting a lot of good endorsements is because of my experience, but Republican involvement also. And you'll see a lot of the endorsements individually are also some people. I have support county-wide, but a lot of my support is from Southeast Harris County, where my wife and I know even more people. And those are people who've worked with us over the years, and attorneys that are on there I've worked with over the years. And so they know me, and they know that, obviously I'm not perfect. No one is. We all have our faults. But you know what? They know that I am honest, that I am respectful. I treat people respectfully. I do believe in treating the golden rule, treat people as you want to be treated. And I do believe that's helped me gain a lot of endorsements. So I'm sorry if I rambled on a little bit there, but
you got time for some questions?
I'll give you a summary, and I'll be glad to answer any questions at this time, definitely. Yes, sir?
I'm really faced with a choice between you and your opponent.
Can you give me a real differentiator that would make me want to vote for you and not for your opponent?
Well, that's, I do get asked that, obviously by people, and that is probably the toughest question I ever get, because I always look at myself, I look at me being the right person for the job, and I want to be positive. My campaign's been positive the whole time, and I want to continue to do that. But that is a legitimate question. It's hard one to answer, and I will try to answer that for you. And I try to do it again in a positive light. I do think a few things I guess I'd point out is that I do think I have a lot more experience, and I don't know the details of the other candidates' background, but I go by what I've seen on I remember a while back, a few months ago when I first looked at the website, the experience that she had on there was both basically about probate and family law, and there are different courts in Harris County that specifically deal. There's a probate county court, and there's a family law civil district. There's a family district court, or there are multiple family district courts, but those are different courts than a civil district court. So I'm not sure the extent of her civil experience. She may have more, but there just wasn't much listed on the website about it.
The reason I ask, the reason it's a concern for me is that I've just seen somebody elected who probably doesn't have enough experience to be a candidate for the judgeship she's running for. And this is a recent Republican runoff, recent Republican project. And I was shocked, and I just, the voters are not paying attention to these discriminators that are electing, I guess they're electing women or famous names or looks like a movie star I know. I don't even know what the discriminators are, even in Republican voters. So I need something tight that I can tell people.
Yeah, well, and I would just say, to the extent that I'm aware of, my experience is I have a lot more experience in the civil district court. But I don't want to get the impression that she's not qualified, though. But most of her experience is in other courts, not the civil district courts, is my understanding. But you could practice criminal law your whole career and still go to civil law and be a good judge if you're willing to learn and you have the right philosophy. If you're willing to apply the laws.